This video will demonstrate the topics that will be covered in practical test 1. The topics are outlined here: basic modeling and texturing in Unity, first-person controller, animation, UI text, trigger box, trigger event, sound, and scene changing. Okay, let's say you are required to create a room with a dimension of 8 meters wide and 4 meters tall. Okay, so you will create first a plane. Okay, so for a plane, 1 unit in Unity is equivalent to 10 meters. Okay, so to quickly create a room with 4 walls, we will create a cube. Okay, always reset it to its position and scale. And we're going to use 8 meters wide and 4 meters tall, and the thickness can be 0.3. Okay, and bring it up, okay, to be so that it floats above the plane. So to quickly create the 4 walls, we can duplicate this 4 times. Okay, and for the first wall, we will move it to 4 units to one side and 4 units to the other side. So we use -4. Okay, because the middle point of uh, 8 meters wide is 0. So 4 units to one side and 4 units to the other side will bring the 2 walls on both opposite sides. Yeah? And then for these 2 other cubes, we can rotate it to 90 degrees, and then we move it to one side 4 and the other side is x -4. So now we quickly have set up a room with 4 walls. Okay. Okay, then you will be required to apply textures to the walls. Okay, let's say this is the wall texture. Okay, you will just drag this texture to the assets folder here, and then we just drag it onto the walls. Okay, so you will see that the wall texture is a bit stretched in the vertical dimension. So how do you correct the scale of the texture? Okay, you can go to materials and adjust the tiling. Okay, the Y dimension, yeah? Like that. Okay. Right, so next we are going to add a first-person controller using package manager. Okay, go to my assets folder. All right, so the first person controller that we are going to use is modular first person controller. This is the controller that we have been using. We will import it into our project. Okay, once the controller has been added, you will see the modular first person controller folder will be created under assets folder here. So if you go to first person controller folder, you'll see the first person controller prefab here, and we'll just drag this object to the scene. Okay, so now you will have to disable the main camera so that you will use the camera that comes together with the first person controller. Then we'll test the scene. All right. So you should be able to move freely in the scene. Okay. Okay. Next, we are going to create uh, a door. Okay. Right, so we have done the basic modeling and texturing. We have added first person controller. We are going to add door animation. Okay, and for this purpose, we are going to create a door object using cube. Okay, I'm going to reset. I'm going to rename it to door. Double click. I'm going to raise it. And then I'm going to use a scale of y 2 meters and x 1.5 meters wide. The thickness is 0.3, and we will push this towards the wall. Okay, to make this more realistic, when we slide open the door, okay, currently if we slide open the door, we will see the wall. Okay, so we are going to duplicate this, and we are going to make a door hole. I'm going to rename it to door hole. I'm going to move this door away, and for this door hole, I'm going to create a black material, okay, and assign a black color to it, and I will assign the material to the door hole. Okay, this is the door hole. I'm going to push it further to the wall. Okay, and then for this door, we are going to animate this over the door hole like that. Okay, so to animate this door, we will need to record the position, the world position of the door when it is closed and when it is open. So when it is closed, x is 0, y is 0.98, and z is 3.923. So I will just record it here. Door up, door close, 0, 0.98, 3.92. Okay, and for door close, door open, okay, we're going to slide this open, and we record the position. Basically, the only the x will change. Okay, the rest y and z stay the same. Okay, x is 1.467. Okay, all right, so we are going to put this door at the closed position, and we are going to create trigger box, okay, in front of it. Okay, so that when you come near, when the player comes near the door, it will start the animation for the door. Okay, so I'm going to rename this to door trigger. And don't forget to check the is trigger property under the box collider, okay, for this trigger box. All right. And then we are going to add FSM to this door trigger, add FSM. So we need two states for basic trigger box. Okay, the first one is idle. We will rename the state to idle, and the second one we will rename it to uh, activated. So for the idle, we will add action called trigger event. Okay, trigger event. Collide tag, we use player because the player is carrying the tag player, and send event, we will create new event called hit. Okay, add this event to the state. Okay, whenever the trigger box is activated or receives a hit, we will send it to activated state. And during this activated state, we will use twin position to animate the door. Okay, so here you will see that we will use specify game object and choose the door. This is the object that you want to animate. From, we use current position. To, we use world position, and we will copy this position. Yeah? Okay, it is supposed to animate open, so we will copy this X and Y and Z. Okay, so let's try it quickly. So it should open, the door should open when we hit the trigger box. Okay, like that. So when we move away from the trigger box, we should activate the trigger exit event. Okay, so we will copy this trigger event, put it in the activated state, paste actions after, and we will use on trigger exit, add it, add the hit event to the state. We will send it back to idle, and in this idle state, we are going to animate the door close. Right, so we are going to copy this twin position from the activated state, copy selected actions and paste it here, paste actions before. All right, so here it will animate from current position, which is the open position, to close position. All right, so let's see what is the value of the close position. Is x0. Okay, so we'll just put this 0 here. Okay, so let's try now. Okay, so you go to the trigger box, it opens when you move away and it closes. Okay, all right. So now we are going to have, okay, let's look at the other topic, UI text. So for this demonstration, we are going to create a table and put an object on the table. So I'm going to create a cube and place it at the corner there. Okay, and create a sphere. Okay, put it on the table. Okay, so just a quick placement of the sphere. I will rename this to ball. All right. So what we are going to do is we are going to have an interaction with the ball. So when the player comes near the ball, it will display information regarding the ball. Okay, so for that, we are going to create a canvas and we are going to create UI, Text Mesh Pro. So I'm going to import PMP Text Mesh Pro Essentials. Okay, all right, so this object, I'm going to rename it to ball info. Okay, so this is the text. I'm going to change the text to this is a ball. Just a simple text. I'm going to align center. Okay, height. I'm going to anchor it to the top center. Whenever you anchor the text to any position, always reset the X and Y to 0, and then you reposition or you introduce an offset to the Y. Okay, in this case, because I'm anchoring it to top center, so I'll just change the offset of Y. So it places a bit below the very top of the window. Okay, all right. So for this interaction, we are just going to activate and deactivate the game object. Okay, so whenever you activate or whenever you come near the ball, you are going to activate it. Whenever you move away from the the ball, you are going to deactivate it. Okay, so let's go here and we are going to place a trigger box in front of this ball uh, to make the ball trigger. We can just copy this dot trigger, duplicate it. I'm just going to rename it to ball trigger. Okay, and I'm going to move it to near the ball area. Okay, like that. So for this ball trigger, I'm just going to go to the FSM and remove the twin position action because we are not going to use it. Okay, but we have the trigger event, trigger enter and trigger exit. Okay, so in the activated state, we are going to activate the text, the ball info. Okay, so you specify game object and choose the ball info, and we are going to activate it. Okay, and then for the idle state, we are going to copy the selected items and selected action, and we are going to paste it here, and we are going to deactivate. Okay, so during idle, it will not show the ball information. So you can try now. All right, so when I go to the ball section here, when I trigger this trigger box, it will show this information. This is a ball. When I step away from the trigger box, it will hide it. Okay, okay, all right. So when you are satisfied with the position of the trigger box, you can just disable the mesh renderer for the trigger box. Okay. Okay, next we are going to create a second room. All right, so we are done with this. We are going to do scene changing. All right, So we go to the scenes folder. So we have the sample scene here. Uh, I advise you to not rename the sample scene. Instead, you can copy Control C and Control V, okay, to copy paste or to duplicate the scene. And you rename the duplicated scene to room 1. And copy paste again one more time, Control C, Control V, and name this room 2. Okay, so just leave the sample scene there as a backup. All right, so for room 2, I'm going to remove everything in there to differentiate between room 1 and room 2. Okay, even I will remove the door hole. Okay, so this is room 2. I can probably change this wall info to room 2. Okay, like that. So whenever you go to this room, you will see this room 2 label displayed. Okay, so we are going to go back to room 1. Okay, so the interaction will be we are going to go through the door. Okay, we animate it open. We are going to go inside, go through the door, and then you are going to be transported to room 2. Okay, okay, so for this purpose, I'm going to turn on the mesh renderer so that I can see the position of the door trigger. All right, and then I'm going to duplicate this door trigger so that I will create a trigger box for scene changing. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this. Now it's called door trigger to room 2. Okay, all right, so I'm going to bring this forward like that. Okay, so meaning when you activate the door trigger, the normal door trigger, it will animate open, and then when you go further towards the door, you will trigger this uh, another trigger box, and this trigger box will bring you to the second room. All right, so let's inspect the playmaker FSM. So during idle, so we don't need this twin position. We remove this twin position. Also, we remove the twin position here. So what we will need is we are just going to need idle and activated. We don't need to go back to the idle because once you activated the trigger to move to another room, then you will be transported to that room. So you don't need on trigger exit. Yeah? So I will remove this trigger event from the activated state, and I will remove this transition. Okay, so for the first state, whenever you hit it, you will go to activated state, and in this activated state, you will use load level. Okay, so for this load level action, you're just going to name the second room here, room 2, so that you'll be transported to this room 2. Okay, so before you can uh, load other scenes, you will need to go to build settings, add both scenes or both rooms. Okay, open room 2, add open scenes. So you need to have both scenes or both rooms added to the build settings. Okay, so let's close this and you can try from room 1 and try the game. All right, so we will go to this first trigger box. You will animate open, and then when you go further to the second trigger box, it will move you to room 2. Okay, all right. Uh, so once you're satisfied with the placement of the trigger box, you just turn off the mesh renderer for both trigger boxes. Okay, so now we are going to add a sound effect when the door is opening. All right, so for that we will use the FSM for the door trigger here. When it is activated, you will just use, okay, before that we will need to import the sound. Okay, all the assets will be given. So in this case, let's say this is the sound that you need to import into your project, door opening. Let's test it first. Okay, so it works. Uh, so go back to door trigger FSM, activated state. You'll just need to add play sound, action, and choose the clip that you have imported, and that's it. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so we're here, animates open, you go further, and it transports you to the other room. Okay, so that is all. Um, okay, for submission of your project, sorry, of your practical test, you you'll be required to submit the standalone folder. Okay, so if you go to file, build settings, make sure both scenes are in the build settings, and you go to player settings. Okay, go to resolution and presentation. Instead of full screen window, you choose window. Okay, so that it's easier for me to grade or to test your project or your game, and then it's easier for me to close it. Okay, because it's window instead of full screen. Okay, now you close this and let's build this application as a standalone. All right, so I would suggest you, or I would recommend you to go to desktop folder and create any folder called test1. Okay, and then select this folder and it will create your standalone application in that folder. Okay, so you're going to um, compress that folder and submit that folder. Before you submit, test your standalone application and make sure it works correctly. Yeah. Okay. So now it's creating the standalone. Okay. So you see desktop test one, and in test one here you will see the standalone application here. You will double click this to test it. Okay. All right. So you go here. Yeah, this is a ball. Okay, the text disappears, and you go here to animate, open, and you go further, and it transport you to this room. Okay, so in the test, you might be asked to allow the player to go back to room 1. Okay, so you just do similar thing like what you did for room 1. Okay, so for submission, you go to test 1 and you compress this to a zip file and you submit that zip file. Okay, okay, so you submit this zip file. So the size is around 27, 30, up to 50 megabytes. Okay, so that is all. Thank you.